welcome to Sarah's Joyful Journey. I am Sarah Joy. As of the day I'm recording this is Mother's Day. I thought it would be fun to do a little bonsai update from my perspective of a beginner bonsai person and show you the plants, show you some things that I'm trying out and my plans for my plants. And I figured we can do a monthly bonsai update. But first, I want to show you one of my favorite teas and how I make it. We're going to make a Keto London Fog, so let's get started. To make a Keto London Fog, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need some hot water, which my water is going already. You're going to need a thing of Earl Grey tea. You need your favorite mug, which this one is quickly becoming my most favorite one. It's the one I want to use the most. You're going to need some almond milk, a way to make frothy almond milk, which this is my little Instant Pot coffee frother thingy. I think it was like $30 on Amazon. It wasn't super expensive, but it works perfectly. You could also heat it and then whip it in a blender. That would work as well. We're going to need a little bit of vanilla and your favorite sweetener. I'll be using liquid sucralose because that's what I have and it's easy. Once the water has come to temperature, we'll start steeping our tea. The water just came up to a boil. So I'm gonna grab it, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pour half my mug full of water. Okay. So you can see that it's halfway into my mug, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to add my bag of Earl Grey tea. I need to order some lavender syrup that's sugar-free, or lavender extract, or even lavender Earl Grey tea, which would make this also wonderful. So I've pulled my little drink thing forward, and then I'll lift it so you can see. So you can see along the side right here, there, maybe you can see, there's measurements that say min, max, and for what you're doing if you're reheating a beverage. Since I am not reheating a beverage, which this is perfect for heating keto chow hot, so you can have like a hot beverage for keto chow. So I do like a lot of foam on mine. So I am gonna pour my almond milk up to the max. Then I don't measure my vanilla. I just put a splash in there. It's just how I've always made it. So maybe half teaspoon, I would say. You could start with a quarter and see how you like it. And then I'm gonna put my lid back on. And then my functions are for cold foam, light foam, heavy foam, and reheat. And I like heavy foam. And I'm gonna put start. And then it's gonna start swirling and making my milk. Once my milk is back and my tea is steeped, we'll put this together. The heated milk doesn't take this long, but it's been a few minutes since the tea has been steeping. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm just gonna get my tea bag out. And then I am going to sweeten with sucralose. I like 3 drops. You can use whatever sweetener you like to your preference. And then I'm going to pull the lid off here. And then you can see right there that it made lots of foamy milk. And we're just going to pour that in. And all that foam right on top. And there's still a little bit in there, so I'm going to grab a spoon. And I'm just going to make sure that I get as much of that foam as possible into my mug. And that is how you make a Keto London Fog. I'm going to go grab a few of the bonsai to start with, and we'll sit down and I'll share about what their species is and my plans for them. I grabbed 4 of my bonsais. I grabbed the ones that I've had the longest. So the very first bonsai I got was a Fukian tea. I had it for a few weeks, and then Ghost assisted me in some repotting when I was not home. and it did not survive its out of the pot experience, which is kind of sad. So I had two of those. I had two little Fukientis. It was not fun, but it was what it was. But my husband did buy me another Fukienti, and I'm gonna pull it over now to show it to you. So this is my S-curve Fukienti. My best guess is that it is a few years old. I'm probably gonna say it's closer to 5 or 6 years old. So I did plant it in an 8-inch green pot. I love this pot. I have, since then, so I replanted it, and I have done some pruning, and as you can see right up here, this is a shoot of new growth. So it is growing and doing well. It has lost a couple leaves, and so I suspect that I was overwatering. So I'm going to try to water less. But it is doing really well. It is thriving and growing, and I'm very, very happy with it. It's a beautiful little tree, and this is about the size that I want it to stay. What I would love to do is if I could get some sort of branching out right here on this bottom curve, so that it can branch out. I consider this the front of the tree, so there would be a pad. My goal is right back here. So we'll see how that goes. For now, it's in a state where I just water it. I have some fertilizer in here, and then occasionally, because I don't know how well the slow fertilizer is working, I do every couple of weeks give it a little bit of a liquid fertilizer. I'm still learning, so if you know how to do better than me, please share the information. I would greatly love it. I watch tons of videos on YouTube, but I'm very, very happy with that. The next bonsai that I got was a dwarf jade. And this one was also attacked by ghost, but it has survived. I have made some mistakes with it, but it is this. It is it has been repotted twice since I've had it, because it was in a pot and ghost broke that pot. And I stuck it in another pot that was probably too small for it. I've overwatered it, so it's lost some leaves. It's not as full as it was. However, I'm pretty sure that it'll recover because it's got some new growth on it and it's doing really well. This is the pot my Chinese elm was in, and I replanted that yesterday. So this guy went into this pot. Hopefully he'll be much happier. And I'm realizing I've made lots of mistakes with potting, because there are definitely supposedly times of year that you should pot, and at appropriate times that you should pot. I need to really learn what pot bound means. I thought my Chinese elm was pot bound in here, and it probably wasn't, but we'll see. So far, this is doing good. Oh, and I have named them. So this one is Groot, and then my Fukienti is Matcha. The next one I'm gonna show you is my Chinese elm, and it's probably my least happy plant at the moment. I bought it. It was beautiful. It had all of its leaves on it. It lived in an outdoor environment. I brought it inside. It lost all of its leaves. I've recently found out they're great outside and they're easy to grow outside. They can be very finicky indoors, and I'm finding this out. I'm not too worried about this plant yet because, as you can see, there's lots of new growth and new leaves forming. And I potted it into a plastic training pot that's 8 inches. It did get a root prune yesterday, which I found out after I did that I probably shouldn't have done it. And I think I was also overwatering. I think I've been overwatering all of my bonsais. I've been watering them every 2 days. And I've started checking the soil so that I can make sure that if it's moist or not. So I'm going to hopefully water every 3 or 4 days. It may even be as low as once a week. So yeah, it's a learning process, and I am learning. The last one that went through the ghost attack, which the Chinese elm was the only one that didn't get touched during that time. and my Chinese elm's name is Mulan. Well, I had this little tiger bark ficus, and it had beautiful shoots on it. It was looking fantastic, and then Ghost ate it. So it's been repotted because its pot broke, and this is one that I had that I bought that I didn't have a plant in yet, because I'm trying to get a small collection of pots so that if I, on a whim, buy a tree, I have a pot. I'm realizing I probably shouldn't do that now, but that's all right. Well, anyway, this one had pretty much like 3 leaves on it, and I was very, very concerned that it wouldn't grow at all, but it is thriving at this point and putting out lots of new shoots. And this one's name is Raja because it's a tiger bark ficus, also known, I believe, as a Golden Gate ficus. It could be wrong. So there's the first 4 of my bonsai. I'm going to go put these guys back, and I'm going to get a few more. If you're keeping track, you will realize that is 4 bonsai, and I brought out several more. The next one that I got was a willow leaf ficus, and I got it as a seedling, and it is this one. This one's name is William because it's a willow leaf ficus. It was really tall, so it was a good 3 feet tall, and it was spindly. So I did a research, and well, the day I got it, I repotted it. I'm learning maybe that I shouldn't have done that, but it is thriving because when I cut it, I read that to cut it you should, and it's a twin trunk, you should reduce the size because it'll force the trunks to get thicker. So I think I made the right decision there. Timing wise, it was probably bad. Another mistake that I made is I should have, since it's a twin trunk tree, I should have shortened one of them and made them shorter. I am going to do that, but I'm going to wait for fall when it is a better pruning time for that. So when I cut it down, it had like 2 or 3 leaves on it. It had no leaves. And this one over here on this side had 0 leaves on it. So it is growing and sprouting branches, and I am just going to let it grow. I have decided for my current space and what I have room for, I like smaller bonsai. So I'm going to want to keep them fairly small. I think this is like a 6-inch pot. This is gonna be my pot size of preference. The Chinese elm is in an 8, my Fuki and tea is also in an 8, and that one works well for those. My Chinese elm may still get a drastic chop, but for now, it's just growing. And part of learning is just doing and making mistakes. I am such a beginner, I definitely may kill a tree. It may happen, but anyway, this one is a Little William. So I was very happy with that one. And then when I chopped it, I was very scared that I killed the tree. The tree is doing well, and now it just gets water and grow lights and time to develop. And I will decide on pruning things soon. This one is probably, I would say, 2-ish years old. I don't know for sure, but I have some that I know are from this year, that were sprouted this year, and this trunk is much, much thicker and much, much firmer. So I'm gonna say this one's probably in the 2 to 3 year old range. The next one I got was my Chaparella, also known as a Hawaiian umbrella. This one is Kona, which is a Hawaiian name. It's coffee, obviously. And it's not a coffee plant, but I don't have one of those. I want one, but I tried to buy one and then it sold out before I got it. So this is my little Chaparella that I bought for $7 at Lowe's because I saw a vision with it. I could see it being a bonsai. So I got home, I replanted it into some bonsai soil. I've just been watering it, and it is also got some new growth and growing. I took one set of leaves off. It had one at the front and was growing out the front. I am considering this the front of the tree. For now, that could change. With most of my trees, that could change. A lot of them are babies and don't have like that any particular bonsai shape. They are in training and they are beginning their journeys as bonsais, just like me. The next one that I got, and all these other ones have come this week and are future plans of things. So these are my newest bonsai, or soon to be bonsai. I'll start with this one. All right. So this one is the one I'm least happy with because the guy had a picture up and he says, your plant may not look like the picture. And I read that and I was okay with that. But he says, we will make it look similar. They don't look similar at all. And this tree was expensive. This tree was $50. This is my most expensive tree that I currently have. Before this, I spent $45 on a tree, and that was with the pot. This one doesn't have a pot. It's in a grower pot, which is fine. This is a green island ficus. I don't like it yet. I don't like it yet. I have an 8-inch pot coming because it said to plant it in an 8-inch pot, but I'm also currently out of soil. So for now it is staying in here, and I'm just going to keep looking at it and trying to figure out what I want to do with it. There is a decent stump in here. It's hard to see, but it's right in here. And I might cut a lot of these long spindly branches back and see if I can grow it like a little bit more compact instead of so big. But right now, like I said, I don't have a pot and I don't have soil, and I'm probably going to wait to get repotted. I don't know. I heard the ideal time is in the early spring. That's a year away. I don't know if I want to leave this one in this pot that long. And I do want to definitely start making some decisions on how to shape and prune it. But for now, I'm going to water it and attempt to not overwater it and let it go. It's got some cool little aerial roots going and a nice looking nabari. It's very, very thick. The nabari is the exposed roots. So I am learning so much, and I'm one of those where I can learn by books, I can learn visually, I can learn all the ways, and I like all the ways, and all the ways teach you something different. But sometimes when you have something like this and a hobby that is at least a good portion of it is doing, you just got to jump in and do, and that's what I've done. I know I've made mistakes, and I will continue to make mistakes, I'm sure, but I'm very happy with my progress, and I love all my plants. This one currently does not have a name. So if you have a suggestion for a name, let me know down below. What I do know about this species of ficus, is called a green island ficus, is they are definitely a tropical plant. Here in Florida, they're like down, you can see them down in Miami. They're more of a bush instead of a tree. So I'm going to be taking something that's a bush and making it look like a tree, which is part of the challenge of bonsai. So it's kind of sort of growing me on me today. I've literally had it not even 24 hours. I went to bed just trying to think about what I was going to do with this one. And I don't really want to start cutting on it until fall. I think until then, I'm just going to let it grow and do its thing. And then I will try and shape it more in the fall. The next one that I got is still in its little baby grower pot, and I absolutely love it. I'm waiting for some soil to come. I'm waiting for olive soil because I've got a little baby olive tree. Now this one, I've heard mixed things. I've heard mixed things that olives can do well in the house, and then I've heard they can't. This is an Olea Europa arbequina. So it is an olive tree. one species of olive tree. These ones tend to be smaller olive trees, and I think that it can do just fine in the house. I have a couple options with it. One, I can train it as a bonsai, which of course has appeal. Two, I could let it get taller and I can just grow it as a mini tree inside the house. So I could let it get 3, 4 feet tall, 5 feet tall, maybe not 5 feet tall, but I could let it get 3 or 4 feet tall. But the next thing that I'm going to do is I am going to take the olive soil and I am going to plant it in a 4-inch pot instead of this little 2-inch pot. Give it a little bit more room to grow and develop its root structure, which is probably something that I should have done with some of my other baby trees that came this week. But I'm super happy with it. If I do decide to do it as a bonsai, I think that I'm going to reduce the height because, again, I don't want it super tall. I want smaller trees. So I'm thinking of cutting it right about there, and it may get even reduced even further over time. The reason I picked there is because I have some side branches starting. And I could even go a little bit lower to maybe about here. And it would look a little funny at first, but I think that's just part of the nature of growing bonsai. I am hoping to do more clip and grow style, which takes longer than wiring to get things in their proper form. It's also going to take a lot of practice and learning where to clip to get it to grow the way that you want it to grow. So it's going to be a very, very fun adventure. And for now, this little olive is just gonna grow probably until fall, maybe even till next spring. The only thing that I'm going to do with it is plant it in a 4-inch pot. And this guy's name is Ollie, so he's Ollie my olive. Sorry, I just realized I got super close to the camera right there, just reaching around me. I have plants everywhere. All right, let me pause and rearrange and bring what I need closer that's further away. If you're keeping track, we are now at 8. I have so many trees. I love it though. It's so much fun. I'm kind of out of space. Some of what I have going is going to be gifts. Some of them are going to be experiments, and we'll see how they go. All right, the next one that I got is actually 2 trees. It was 1 tree, but it is 2 trees. Let me grab them. So I really liked my willow leaf ficus, and I have a feeling that for indoor bonsais, my ficus are probably going to be my best ones. And I've had ficus in the past. I didn't take great care of them, but I did have them and I kept them for several years. And because I didn't take great care of them, they didn't live very long. And I've learned a lot since those days. But I did get 1 more willow leaf ficus. It also came as a twin trunk tree. And I went to repot it the day that I got it, which I'm realizing I probably shouldn't have potted them in bonsai pots with bonsai soil, but they just look so damn cute. I should have done what I'm doing with my olive, which is putting them in larger grow pots and letting them grow a little bit longer. I may end up regretting that decision, but for now, they are doing well and thriving. Like I said, it was 1 twin trunk tree, and I decided to split them. So over in the darker green pot is Willow and her sister Wilma. And I am calling them sister trees because they were 1 tree. So they are essentially now 2 trees that are related. So they are in their little pots. And they're doing well. They've been watered once since I've got them. And again, I'm trying very hard not to overwater. But that is a challenge. Those guys do not have fertilizer yet because I literally just planted them. Kona also doesn't have fertilizer in their pot yet because I just haven't had a chance to do it. And I'll probably move forward with liquid fertilizer for that one. Next, I have another Chinese elm. It's a bitty baby Chinese elm. and it's so cute and adorable. I'm thinking it is probably about a year old. It will probably live in this pot for at least a year, if not two. But honestly, what it's probably gonna do is probably gonna get repotted and put back in this pot. This is the pot. No, this is not the pot that my other Chinese album was in. But this little guy is Mushu. So I have Mulan and Mushu, because why not? I mean, so yeah, it very, very flexible, dainty little branches and super tiny little leaves. I love it. So for now, just gonna grow. I'm just gonna grow. I'm gonna do some more research. I'm gonna learn about wiring, and maybe in the fall, I might try wiring and pruning and stuff like that. But we'll see. For the summer, I'm just gonna let the tree grow and try not to overwater it. Hopefully, this one will not lose its leaves, because I'm hoping it's gonna be adjust to an indoor environment much sooner than Mulan. Mulan is a tree that is probably 5, 6, or 7 years old, even maybe, and it was propagated and left outside the entire time. So we'll see how it goes. It's a process, we're gonna learn. One thing that I wanted to learn to do is I'm learning to propagate plants. So I've tried some things, and the first thing, well, they're not first, but they're related to what I already showed you, so we're gonna go from there. So I went ahead, and I think it was on willow, there was a branch growing out that was growing straight, a funky angle, and I'm like, well, for bonsai purposes, it shouldn't be there. So I went ahead and I cut it off, and I bought rooting powder, and I stuck it in a 4-inch growing pot, and I'm going to try and propagate my own tiny baby willow leaf ficus. I'll most likely not be keeping this. So even if it works, I'm just gonna grow it for a while, maybe a couple of years. I don't know. And then I will repot it and sell it most likely, or give it as a gift, and we'll go from there. Then I also decided that since I took one off the willow leaf and I heard that Chinese elms are easy to propagate, I took one of the branches off the Chinese elm that I just got and also stuck it in some soil. So I did that this morning with some rooting powder, and we're gonna see. I am going to go ahead and get the last of the bonsai, and we'll go from there. If you're keeping track of the bonsai count, we are currently at 13. Then this week, I also found a plant that someone was selling local to me. I will try to remember to put the photo of what it looked like before right here. I got this tree because it looked overgrown. It didn't look anything like a bonsai, but it was a jade plant, which is the same species as Groot. I didn't have much vision for it at the time. Well, I did, because I did what I envisioned. I decided to get it and do something very drastic. It was very overgrown, so I decided it would be the perfect plant to try to chop up and propagate. So I have done that. So the first time I attempted to propagate, I did take a cutting from Groot, and that is in this pot. And it is, I think it's working. It's been in this pot for a couple weeks. Has it looked like it's died? I do water it maybe once a week. It still probably is a little overwatered, but I'm working on that. So that was my first attempt at propagation. Then I got this other jade, and it was growing wild all over the place. And this one may not survive. It just may not survive, which it's okay. If it doesn't, the pot that it came in, I got my value out of. The pot itself was about $15, and it has another plant in it that's going to be a gift. So, and I figured for $15, I will have had a huge learning experience. So what I did is I chopped it apart. It had branches growing out the sides. They were weighted and curvy, and I decided that I wanted a straighter tree, and it's just in this little pot. and I pruned the roots a little bit as well. And then I left one, hoping that I can start an apex or a canopy. I'm hoping I'll get some branches out the sides again, and I can shape it more like a traditional tree instead of less like a wild mess. So we'll see if it survives. This one does not have a name. None of these other ones have a name at this point because, well, they're in various stages of life that may not survive. But anyway, sometimes, like I said, you just got to do. So that is that. As you can see, that is quite a drastic change. And technically, I could have taken the branches and I could have made a lot more cuttings than I did. I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cuttings. I probably could have had 30 or 40. So what I did is I just took some sections that I thought were cute and kind of tree-like, and I stuck them in rooting powder and put them in a 4-inch grow pot. So there was the first one. I have another little one right here. She had both variegated jade and unvariegated jade. So I made sure that I kept a variegated one because I really like this one. So this is the same species as Groot. But I think she grafted the two in somehow because the leaves on this one are much, much smaller than the leaves on this one. And then the leaves can get bigger depending on which ones that the plantings that I've got. So my plan for some of these, as I'll talk about it, is I want to get them rooted and let them grow and start shaping them into more tree-like structures instead of just straight sticks. Some of these are not just straight sticks, but what I want to do is I would like to take several of them and I want to order a forest pot and some grow lights, and I want to turn it into a jade forest. And the plan is to put it on the back of my toilet with a grow light because I don't have any windows in my bathroom, so it would have to stay in my bathroom with a grow light, which is fine, but I really, really like it. So that is my plan for these. For now, they're just going to grow and root, and we'll see what takes off. I think my forest, I would like to have a minimum of 3. I may go as much as 5. It depends on the pot, which I haven't ordered or bought yet. And like I said, I just want these to grow for the summer and not really do anything about it. But my little plant stand has absolutely 0 room, and I'm going to need to order a new one so I can have some more room. I also have a ZZ plant, which goes semi-killed and may or may not make it. It's in a new location. Hopefully it will do okay. And then I have a plant that I bought as a gift that will be going to my friend Nancy. So once I give her her plant, I will have a tiny bit more room in my plant stand. I might be able to get 1 or 2 more trees. We'll see. There's still a couple other species that I would like. I would like to try a bush cherry. Yeah, I also want to grow a lemon and an orange because you can bonsai them too, but that is going to have to be a much future plan because I think I need to turn this into a forest first. Let these guys grow. I definitely got to get a plant stand that's a little bit bigger than the one I've got so that I have more room, but I definitely want to try growing a tree from seed. And I really, really want outdoor space because I'd love to do junipers. I'd love to keep these guys outside, especially like my Chinese elms. So yeah. Well, right as I was doing that last segment, I looked over and Ghost was in the bedroom and he had my Green Island ficus, which he's now taken some branches off for me. So if you leave it long enough, your dog will make some decisions for you. I'm seeing as how the root ball was pretty intact, I just added a little bit more soil, and I did clean up a little areas where he had already chewed. He needs to go on a walk, but he did take off one of the branches. So I decided that, well, we'll stick it in rooting powder and we'll see what happens. So if you want to know how many plants I currently have 24. I have so many, But it's a fun adventure, that is for sure. I will come back next month with an update on how the bonsai are doing. Hopefully I will still have 24. If not, that is fine too. Things happen, life happens. It's a learning process and I'm enjoying it and having fun. I really wish my dog would stop eating my plants though. He likes to do it when I'm not watching. Thankfully, most of them are in the bedroom and he typically can't get to them. But he was quiet and I was distracted, so we had an accident, but that's all right. I think that tree is going to be just fine. I've moved to the bedroom because the last thing I want to show you is my plant stand, and it is very, very full, and probably should not be this full, but it is what it is until I get something bigger. When we start up the top, we have Mulan, and we have my little stick, and then we have the plant that I'm giving my friend Nancy. This is the pot that this plant came in. So that is a peace lily for her that I got repotted and bought because she likes peace lilies, so I wanted to share. Then I have some sprouts and William. We have matcha. Next we have Mushu and Raja. Over here we have Wilma, Ollie, and the willow leaf sprout. Down here, I have Groot and Willow. Then we have Kona and some sprouts and lots of propagation babies down there with the 2 Green Island ficus. And I really need a new plant stand with grow lights. Lots and lots of grow lights would be fantastic. All right. Well, I hope you liked today's video. If you do, please leave a thumbs up and a comment down below to let me know what your favorite plant of mine is. If you like to grow plants, let me know your favorite plant to grow. Like I said, I hope to be doing these updates once a month. I realize this is not a bonsai channel, but this is about my life and my journey, so it fits in that perspective. And I do want to share at least monthly updates because I think a lot changes. And if it's a month turns out to be too much, then we'll do 6 months or 3 months or whatever. But I do want to do bonsai updates from time to time. Well, thank you so much for listening to me talk about my newest passion, which is bonsai. I hope to chat again with you soon. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram, and those links will be down below. We'll join you again tomorrow for Meal Prepping Monday.